Alright, just got out of watching Anaconda of all things, but enjoyed both films. Song Sung Blue was the more artsy film for sure, so I think I'll wait till I get home to make a nice little review of that movie, but for now, I'm just going to head home, and I think I can cover Anaconda along the way. It's that kind of a movie, so here goes. Okie dokie. About 9:45 as I leave the Grand Theater here in D'Iberville, Mississippi. Had a very enjoyable evening. These two films helped me complete my objective. I was thoroughly taken out of this world and into a couple of, both very entertaining movies. Song Sung Blue and then Anaconda of all things. But yeah, I feel refreshed. I'm glad I came out and enjoyed myself tonight, since I can't do this very often. But anyways, Anaconda is definitely the film that I can cover on the ride home, especially since I got to drive for an hour. So let's do this thing. Full honesty, as always in my reviews, the first time I saw the trailer for this, I thought for Anaconda 2025, Jack Black and Paul Rudd, I thought to myself, what in the world? It's just going to be too silly. It's a comedy instead of a horror. What in the world are they doing? And I thought to myself, this is just going to be some slop, and there's no way they're going to get me out to the movies to see this and spend my money. But it is what it is. It kind of worked on me for a little while. They had the trailer out well in advance, and it just had enough time to kind of permeate to where I was like, you know what? I like Jack Black. Make of it what you will. I don't hate Paul Rudd, even though he's more of a annoying political animal and some of the stuff he's done in real life than even Jack Black is. But I'm thinking mainly of Jack Black as far as there's like a I hate Jack Black bandwagon out there a lot of the time, and I never got on it. I've always generally enjoyed the stuff I've seen him in. Maybe not a huge fan, but I thought I get a kick out of him somehow. Maybe it's because I like quirky humor, kind of odd stuff, kind of over the top, whatever you want to call it. So I thought maybe, just maybe, this will at least be something funny that I can get a chuckle out of, and that it'll help me escape for a couple hours. And these movies did. And so that's my main reasoning for why it finally got me out to the theaters to see this. Now, spoiler alert, I'll put spoilers in it, even though you might not even care. It's like, this is one of those silly movies where it's like you're either going to watch it or you're not. And I'm not going to call this total slop, in as much as I enjoyed myself by just getting lost in the goofiness and craziness of this little movie, this story, and how I didn't really think of the film Happy Gilmore, that if you watch my channel, you know I watched that movie 35 years after the fact, or 30 years after the fact, when AMC in Mobile was bringing it back for this huge anniversary. It's been like 30 years, and I never saw it until I managed to catch it in the theater a few months back, and had a fun time with it, and couldn't get over how young Adam Sandler was in that movie. I had a thought similar to that, even though I didn't think really of Happy Gilmore. That was like the root thought, because I remember saying in that review I did for Happy Gilmore that for the first 15 or 20 minutes of that movie, it seemed like somebody somewhere, I guess some Hollywood writer or Hollywood executive or whatever, just kind of sat down with a cocktail napkin and just started jotting stuff down. And it just kind of snowballed from random craziness into finally a movie that gets on its feet after a full half hour, and you're really cooking with a story. But it starts off as just, what in the world is this? This is like random stuff. This movie did that. Anaconda 2025 did that, and it never stopped. I mean, there's so much, like, people do not really behave this way. So many moments like that in this movie that it's not even funny. But if not the big laughs, I was chuckling and cracking up at just the sudden quirkiness of it all, and really obscene nonsense, and nothing takes the cake. Nothing beats the scene more than when Jack Black thinks he's been bit, or think for all intents and purposes, you're thinking he has been bit because they see this like red tarantula, like this must be some dangerous thing. Bit him on the leg. It's like, oh man, my leg's wigging out, man, my leg's going crazy. It's like, has he got poison in him? It's like a venom that's gonna eat him up and kill him. We're freaking out. And this is, I think, I'm actually confusing this. Is this before or after what you see in the trailer where they believe he's been eaten and ingested in the snake, the huge anaconda, and oh my goodness. I mean, just thinking about this movie, it's like, what is this? What did I just watch? It was, well, let me finish this first one. And again, I'm going to be all over the place with this movie because that's the kind of movie it is. It's all over the place. They end up, when all of a sudden Steve Zahn, or whatever his name is, I like him from a couple of movies. I don't see him in a lot of stuff, but he's in this. I really liked him from Sahara with Matthew McConaughey, and I'll never forget his little. Well, that's really the main thing that I liked him in Sahara. That's my favorite film of his. He's in this. All of a sudden, the camera cuts to him and says, "We got to pee on you, man." I got bust out laughing. Like, what? Why? Why are you saying that? What kind of insane randomness is going on? But about a minute later, you know what? They go through a whole evolution of their past memories, and he's the only one. Okay, they won't let the woman pee, even though they suggested pee on him. Paul Rudd makes, oh man, I am tapped out, dry as a bone. I can't pee on you to save your life. That's going to somehow make the spider's bite not be deadly or some chunk. Like, that's how we're going to save your life. It's like in City Slickers, where City Slickers 2, where Billy Crystal's Daniel Stern he's been bitten by a snake, and they've got to suck his buttocks to get the poison out. That's how off the wall this humor is in this movie. So it falls to, I think I'm getting his name wrong, Steve Zahn, to pee on him. It's like, oh man, I've had urinary stage fright. I can't pee with people watching. And then they have to motivate him and kind of massage him into being able to pee. And it's quirky. It's like a weird fever dream watching him be face to face at an angle with Jack Black. He looks like, I know you can do it, man. Pee on me, man. That's the kind of humor that's in this crazy movie. Within a minute or so of him being bit by a spider, all of a sudden you see on the screen, because he can't pee standing up either, he's got to be in a sitting position. Yeah. I also can't pee standing up. I've had these problems all my life. Within a minute of Jack Black being bitten by a spider, and he throws it off of him, and Paul Rudd deflects it, kicks it like a, what do you call that, hacky sack, into the jungle. Within a minute of that, all of a sudden you're watching this movie, and you see on the screen the woman holding Jack Black laying on the ground, the woman crying and holding his hand, while Paul Rudd forms with his body. He's arched over Jack Black, so the guy can sit on his back and pee on Jack Black's leg. And it's supposed it comes off as like the music is going all spiritual and transcendent, religious. We overcame another obstacle and it's victory. And look at me, I can pee. And it's like, it's the weirdest kind of comedy you could imagine. I certainly could never make this movie because I was like, this is just too much. But yeah, as I leave the theater and I'm driving home for an hour here, that's the thing that I remember most about this movie. That scene really takes the cake of what I just saw in this movie. I feel compelled to say this movie can't hold a candle to the original Anaconda, and I haven't seen that movie in 20 or 30 years, whenever it came out. You see cameos in this from Ice Cube, and even J-Lo at the very end, and I thought that was a nice touch with this movie. And you know what? That really is a nice touch, and there's something worthwhile that I can say about this movie that actually is endearing, and I'll save it for the end because it's probably the best thing I can say about this movie, and I'll hopefully come back full circle to that. But first, let me start with the beginning. I actually missed, because Song Sung Blue and I needed to go to the restroom kind of ran me about 5 minutes late. I guess all that I missed was the character Anna, who you don't realize is, you think she's on the run, like to be kidnapped. Like, I'm thinking, because I was late for the movie, I didn't realize that she was, in fact, the thief. And it really helped me enjoy the movie more, even though I'm sure if I had seen even that 5 minutes, it would have been perfectly set up as like, you're not seeing this double cross coming, and then it's worked in nicely amid all the random stuff that these four people who have left their comfortable homes to live their dream and make a remake of Anaconda, or what do they call it, a spiritual sequel or a reimagining. They used every term possible in this movie, and it's kind of hilarious. I missed that part. All I saw is her running away at the beginning, and she's being chased by some armed men. Okay. Well, cut to the characters of Jack Black and Paul Rudd's character. And yeah, I just want to keep calling them Jack Black and Paul Rudd. The only name I remember is Claire, and I looked her up right before I started recording here, because I've seen her in movies, I just can't remember her name. So at least I'll be able to properly identify one way or another these different people I'm talking about from the movie I just watched. They're not content with their lives. Paul Rudd is a struggling actor. He's trying to follow his dream. And in his own way, Jack Black's character also is at least making films. It's like, these are films that I make. But everybody kind of disses him and says, man, you make wedding videos for people for a living. And he's like, no, they're films. They're films. I make films. So he's trying to live his own dream in his own way. Claire and the two, they're not really hangers-on or subcategories. They're the major characters, but the two main leads are obviously the guys on the poster being hugged by a huge snake, Jack Black and Paul Rudd. And they both feel like something's missing from their lives. You see Paul Rudd getting fired from from his gig as nurse number 3, or whatever his designation was in the soap opera or SWAT show that he was in there filming as he wasn't an extra, he was an actual actor in this thing. And he comes in and he's saying his lines with an accent. He's saying his lines in kind of an odd way, and the way he comes off, I'm thinking to myself when the guy comes in, look man, say the line slower this time. And they keep doing one take after another as he's trying to film this hospital scene, as the doctor comes in and like, what are we working with here? And then Paul Rudd's line is to say, well, he da-da-da-da-da-da, and he's doing it in all these different ways, trying to just eat up the scene basically with this minor role until they finally fire him. And after the 3 different takes that you see of the way Paul Rudd is delivering his lines, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, you got fired for cause. I would fire you too if you kept doing that all these different ways instead of just saying the line more casually, which is what that scene called for. Anyways, he really does a number on his friends in this movie. And again, I know this is just an over-the-top, wacky comedy. That's what it is. And yet, when you apply any kind of real-life standard morality to this movie, he's just a horrible person, because he lies to get them to come on this filmmaking adventure with him. He lies to Jack Black about having the rights to Anaconda. He concocts some stupid story about how the original film was based on a story authored by a Japanese man who's now dead, and his widow just loved what I did and such, and we had a meet and greet, and she gave me I have the rights to Anaconda now. We can make this movie. We'll make it indie style, just run and gun, low budget, getting it done. And Jack Black, to his credit, he actually has some sense, and he's like, I can't just leave my life and my kids and my job, my wife, to go into the jungle to make a movie. We're not kids anymore, Paul Rudd. And then Paul Rudd's like, I understand. And it actually is a neat little scene of him leaving him in the the diner where they were just chilling out eating, when Paul Rudd is talking to all three of them, Jack Black, Claire, and Can't Pee and standing up guy. I think his name's Steve Zahn. Or Vaughn. I just wish I could remember his name from this movie I just watched. But he played he didn't play a good character. Even though it's memorable for the worst way. He takes a man's medication. He gets drunk, he gets high, he gets fired, and then he gets fired again, and it's like he's not... I liked his character least of all these people, and it's a shame, because he's one of the reasons why I wanted to see the film. I thought he would bring a good comic relief, and he kind of did. I mean, here I am talking about it, but it's like, that was just so silly. This movie, there were parts of this movie that were just so silly, and yeah, I would go on and on about the different quirky bits that I actually did enjoy, because that's exactly the kind of thing, like the instant response stuff that you get from a lot of Jack Black's characters in these comedies or in Minecraft or what have you. I get a kick out of it. I like that stuff. But here we go, Anaconda. He lies to them, John. Paul Rudd lied. He's such a I mean, think about how horrible that is. And here we go. You know, I'm not going to say the whole movie, because it would just be too long to talk about. You know what? Let me try and do that. Let me try and give a super fast rundown, like you're watching the movie and fast forward. Paul Rudd persuades him to go to the Amazon. They go to Brazil to make an indie film based on Anaconda as a loving tribute to a movie they love since childhood. You don't realize at first that Paul Rudd has lied about having the rights to Anaconda. He passed a poster after he gets fired from his job for a cause. He sees the original Anaconda poster, and it's a neat thing, a neat little throwback. And there are a lot of things like that in this movie, which I actually did appreciate. And he gets him to go because, of all things, Jack Black's wife is supportive. She wants him to get out of his rut. She wants him to go try and follow his dream a little bit and just like live a little, I guess. Like I've never seen you light up so much as when you're watching the Squatch. It's not Sasquatch. That would also probably intrude upon copyright in some way. The Squatch is their childhood movie that they made, a home video about how they confront and kill this Bigfoot creature. And I'm thinking to myself, there's some pretty good kid actors in here, but the whole thing is, and this is a backdrop that serves as it's like the nucleus of the whole movie, the way they throw back to this video that they made as a kid when they wanted to be actors and filmmakers, and they just keep coming back to it again and again because it's what they loved, and they're trying to relive something that they love. They're trying to recapture that for their own lives, and that's basically the theme of the movie, if there is one. And even there's a part of the movie where Jack Black I know I've just totally derailed my fast forward this happens and this happens and this happens, but whatever. There's a part of the movie where Jack Black, as he goes back into his writing zone, and the movie gets all serious with the music as he gets laser eyes on his laptop, and he's been inspired to type something new and adjust the screenplay or the script just so, because he's a writer, he's a director, and so he's got to make his movie work. Got to change the plan sometimes. All of a sudden, Paul Rudd says, themes, and he's getting inspired, and it's another great moment of like, oh, now this movie has stakes, because now this person, Anna, is like a running gunner. She's like an Amazon, a woman warrior who can knock down men. And who is she? She's mysterious. They don't realize in real life she's a thief who stole the boat, and is actually the one on the run from the government, and not the other way around. So yeah, what a crazy movie. He gets them to come out to the Amazon. They didn't even rent a boat. They rented it, but so they did rent it, but it was actually stolen from a guy. I guess the person that Anna stole the riverboat keys from. I guess he was supposed to be their actual boat captain, but there she is, all slick, trying to outrun these two government officials that you think are actually, who knows, thieves, slavers, drug runners, gun runners, especially the way the one guy acts, demanding something of this old man, like, I need to know the last 3 people who left this pier. Now! And he kind of coerces this old man to produce a list of the boats that have left the pier there, or the dock, in the past 3 hours or whatever, because he's trying to track Anna down. It's hard to really talk about this movie because so much stuff happened, and so much stuff happened it doesn't make sense. It's like, even Jack Black at one point in this movie is looking up at Paul Rudd saying, wait, you went out to get another snake at night? Oh yeah, man, I mean, we needed another snake, so I went out with Carlos Santiago. That guy was hilarious himself. I've never seen that guy in any movie, but his love for his snake, his actual anaconda, was palpable and very heart-touching. Paul Rudd freaks out, like in the trailer. It's like, you can't take it anymore. And there he is. He's dying with fear and a panic attack as the snake is getting closer and closer. And that was one of the funny parts of the movie. It's like, I can't do it anymore. He really is. He really can't do it anymore, Jack Black. And Jack Black looking at him, just a little more. Oh, this is so good. This is gold. And Paul Rudd actually is freaking out for real until he throws that snake. And the boat propeller shreds it, and the guy who was the snake handler, who was hilarious, he's like, it's one of those slow motion screams, like, no, and the music goes all dramatic. That was one of the fun things. And you don't realize who they are. You think they're bad guys, but they're actually government operatives who track down thieves and illegal gold miners. But you don't realize that yet in the movie. They're just spying on them with binoculars, and the guy's phoning in. It's like, what are they doing? Because they're trying to observe what they're doing on the boat and how threatening they are, as far if they were going to try and take them. And he said they're doing some kind of weird snake funeral. And he's like, what do you mean a snake funeral? Who are these people? And I'm thinking to myself, they're a bunch of weirdos. This is who they are, and these are our protagonists in this movie. All of this weird stuff is happening. There's such a back and forth between Paul Rudd and Jack Black, as far as, I always knew this. You wouldn't come out to LA with me. That's why things ended up. But isn't this great? We're finally doing it. We're living our dream. And then there actually are a couple of jump scares in this, and I go ahead and say jump scares because I actually jumped, even though this isn't a horror movie exactly. But it's like when Jack Black is saying to Paul Rudd, dude, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. And it's after they've come back from another episode of almost dying. They they're walking through the jungle. The snake has done whatever. I can't remember what part of the movie that was. But anyway, I just remember how into it I was, and it was actually clever writing in that bit, because I was focused on what Jack Black was saying as he was saying to Paul Rudd, "Oh man, you got to know how proud I am of you." And it gets Paul Rudd's attention. It's like, "What do you mean, man?" It's like, because you actually did it. You're an actor. You went out to LA, you did the thing, you tried to do, and all of a sudden the snake comes down and eats Jack Black. And I was like, whoa! I knew that had to happen at some point, because the trailer actually gives that away with him having the pig tied on his back. But I'm thinking, wow, that actually got me. It's like I wasn't expecting that. It's actually meaningful dialogue for him to be saying to his friend, like, dude, you did it and I didn't. You really followed your dream in a way that gulp. The snake's on him. And then all the funny stuff from the trailer of when they come upon a partially digested Jack Black a few minutes later. There's all this great emotive stuff they do where these actors are actually on screen on the verge of tears. It's like, because it's like so horrible. As Claire's like, oh my God. Because they've just discovered their friend who they thought was dead. They checked his pulse, he is dead, so they're having to relive the nightmare again. And then the part where, is it Steve? I'm just saying Steve because I think his name's Steve Zahn, looks up Paul Rudd and says, maybe this is it. He can be the decoy. We can get through this field and to safety to where the boat is if we use him as a decoy. I think he would want it. And the woman says, no, I don't think he would have wanted it this way. But it's the funny part where Paul Rudd says, it's so sarcastic. His facial expression, his everything, the whole demeanor from the trailer, the part you see where he says, it's a really smart idea. It's like he can't deny it. He can't deny it. It actually is a pretty good idea. Use your friend who's been eaten by a snake. Try and get him eaten again so that you cannot be eaten the first time. The snake looked, well, it's obviously CGI. If they had gone with a more practical effects, it would have helped this movie. Actually, would have helped it big, but obviously, to go as over the top as they were going, they just computerized all this stuff in after the fact. Yeah, that's. I don't know what more I can say about this movie. It had me chuckling, but only because of how over the top it was with the humor and with the one thing after another. It's like somebody had to have literally dreamed up and woke up in time to jot something down on a napkin or a piece of paper or something to get this because it's that non-stop with the illogical behavior where you look at the movie and you're like, nobody would do that. Even Jack Black, it's like, you went out there alone in the dark? Oh, you went out there in the dark to get another steak with Santiago, who I was walking down the aisle. I just watched the movie. I'm like, okay, the credits are rolling and they're playing the dun 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 dun. They got the anaconda music going, and it's all laughs and haha as we're starting to leave, right? Then there's one more little snippet of what happened to these characters after they made the movie. Santiago is out there. I'm alive. He didn't actually die. So it's like you see him get ingested or tackled by the snake or whatever. Maybe you don't see him get gulped down, but then again, you don't see Anna get gulped down either. Only that the snake wraps around him and you're thinking, okay, they're going to get smushed, squashed, and suffocated and then eaten, ingested. He's alive. You went out there alone? That was the most... Really, a lot of those moments came from Jack Black as far as the... What? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? And... But Paul Rudd is the one who gets all of the looks. Like 2, 3, 4 times in the movie. Something awkward that'll make him all of a sudden adjust what he's saying or talking about. And then you get to see him looking at people like, is this for real? Are you guys not seeing this? Like, what in the world? Like, he gets that kind of thing at least 3, maybe 4 times in this movie. But let me go ahead and just shut this one down. I can't talk about the movie forever, but I'll just say I don't regret watching it. I was thoroughly entertained this evening, and the most worthwhile thing for me, as far as any commentary in the movie, was the fact that it's the revelation, it's the realization that they've been duped. And you can talk about this particular scene from this particular movie. I mean, think about it. Anaconda, a remake of Anaconda, really? Let me explain. The part of the movie where they're going down the river in their boat, and all of a sudden, this much nicer riverboat goes by them, like maybe 70 feet away in the water, going down this big Amazon River with them. And then right after that, a smaller one that obviously has a movie, like a movie set on it, filming with all this equipment falling off of it, and it's all decked out with different. It looks like a floating movie set, and they're like, "What in the world?" And there's Jack Black saying, "Hey, you guys making a movie?" And some young woman on the second boat says, "Yeah, we're making a remake of Anaconda." No ideas anymore. They literally say that in this movie. There are like 3, 4, 5 different things in this movie where it's picking on Hollywood just a little bit, even as this is Hollywood making a quick cash grab movie. And I understand that's what this movie is, don't get me wrong. It's the fact that they were willing to actually say as much in the movie. The woman, she kind of throws her hands up, smiling like, no ideas anymore. She's basically saying it's just another remake. It's just another redo from something from the past that actually was entertaining and that people love as a cult classic movie and all that. But that's the part of the movie that it really made the movie, as far as that part of the commentary, because Jack Black's looking at Paul Rudd saying, they're making a movie about Anaconda. And that's when he comes clean, Paul Rudd, in the most dishonest, squirming out of his self possible explanation for the fact that he doesn't actually have the rights to Anaconda. Sony has the rights to Anaconda. And he actually says, as he's trying to just totally deflect everything that's happening in that moment, as far as we're out here completely living a lie under false pretenses, and you got us here, we're in danger, there's a killer snake out there, we're in the river doing this thing, our lives are at risk, and this was all a lie. We don't have the rights per se to be doing this. And then Paul Rudd says, I mean, it's Anaconda. I mean, who has the rights? Sony. Claire chimes in, Sony has the rights. What does that even mean? And Paul Rudd plays, he could pull this off. I give him that kind of humor, that kind of dialogue. Who really? What is that anyway? What are rights? Who cares about these rights that Sony has to? Oh, Sony. And then Jack, everybody. It's IP. Literally everybody in the world has to be aware of IP. And he says, "You're fired." It's like, what? You're fired. Oh, well, you can't fire me. I quit. When? Last night. I just didn't tell anybody yet. That's the kind of dialogue you get in this movie. It is so crazy. And the thing is, that previous night, the night before, when he got drunk, he was actually having, it was like meaningful dialogue as far as his character, motivation, what he's all about, how he has regrets over his past life. Claire's talking to him, and they have like a rekindling of their old romance, as they have regrets in life and where they're at and where they're going. It was actually really good dialogue before you get to the daylight again, when the realization that there's a whole nother set of people here also making an Anaconda movie. But I'll tell you what, something this movie missed out on, it came to me, and I can't believe they didn't use it. They had Claire say the words, "It's never too late." You know what came into my mind right in that moment? Because I was actually listening to these two people that you're with them a couple minutes there. They're on the back of that riverboat at night. It's a bad deal. They've been arguing. They're not agreeing on things. Jack Black is wondering what's going on here, and just different stuff. But it comes to that point where Claire says to Paul Rudd, as he's talking about, I'm nothing. At least you have a career as a lawyer. She said, "Do you think I wanted to go to law school?" And he's like, "But at least you had that." It's like, what have I done? I haven't done anything with my life. I'm nothing. And Claire says the words, "It's never too late." And you know what came into my mind? I said to myself, I wanted to say, oh, man, I really wish she had just said, "It's never too late so long as you're breathing, still breathing." Like, so unless you're dead, it's never too late to turn your life around. And I'm sitting there thinking, wow, I just had a pretty good thought here, considering what kind of movie this is, called Anaconda. I could see Paul Rudd on the screen realizing, oh wait, this snake crushes the life out of you so that you can't breathe. It would have been a great little blurb for the movie for them to say, "It's never too late so long as you're still breathing." It would go with the movie really, really well. It's never too late to turn your life around, so long as you're not dead, so long as your heart's beating, and in this case, like, so long as you're still breathing, it's never too late to make a change. I can't believe they missed that in that movie. I could just see Paul Rudd's eyes bugging out like, yes, that's the perfect blurb for the movie, completely disregarding his own life situation. I'm making this up. This isn't actually in the movie. I'm just saying I wish they had done this because it would fit really perfectly and it would go well with his personality. As, hey, yeah, that would be really good for the movie. Yeah, but it's your own life that she's trying to advise. As far as it's not too late, you can make changes in your life. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. That was basically my favorite thing about the movie. The fact that it pokes and prods at the idea, even while doing it, kind of a self-deprecating thing, like there's just so many remakes and quote-unquote reimaginings and a spiritual sequel. They actually use these terms in the movie to try and describe what in the world it is they're doing, because they don't really know themselves. And even the part of the movie where Jack Black says to Ice Cube, wait a second, you guys came out here and started filming before you knew what the third act was? And Ice Cube looks at him straight on and says, yeah, welcome to Hollywood. And I'm like, great! I'm so glad they put that in this movie. It's beautiful. And the film's ending with them accepting a reward for their possibly illegal, quote unquote, the movie actually says that, Anaconda movie. It was beautiful. I thought this was so good. They're on stage, thanking one another, thanking their fellow cast members, and it's just a few words about you've got to follow your dream no matter what, and really be creative, and don't worry about what the so-and-so thinks. I can't even finish the thought. Anyways, that was pretty good. I appreciated that about this movie, because it, if you're going to make a comedy of this sort, you do need to do that, and there's no better time in the history of movies, in my opinion, than to be saying that kind of thing right now. It's like, what in the world is this? And in the end, it was just about, as Paul Rudd said at one point in the movie, I realize now it wasn't even about any of that. It's about me making things with you guys again, his friends, and having fun. And so at least there's that in this crazy movie. So, wow, almost 40 minutes. That's way too long to be talking about all this. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed the flick if you watched it. Hopefully, if you see it. And thank you for let me talk about it for a few minutes. I might not ever talk about Anaconda again, but at least this is for the journal, David Views Movie Journals. And until the next one, thank you, folks. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.